Welcome back.
Good work, everyone. You made it through that terrible last chapter.
Maybe this one will be better. Only time will tell.
Oh, maybe they didn't make it through that terrible last chapter.
Maybe they just skipped it.
It's always interesting to me that a bunch of our videos, particularly towards the end of arcs, have a bunch more views than the beginning. And I get that that's typically where the iconic moments are.
Yeah.
But how lost do people have to feel when they start watching the later videos?
It's one of those very things where I feel like the people who are skipping those parts are the people who have watched the anime or they've read the novel or whatever. But at the same time, we have so many weird in-jokes that we end up with by the end of the arcs. We're like, hey, it's Jerry Inu guy, and you're like, what does that mean? Well, it's a joke from way back in arc 2, I think, the very beginning of arc 2.
I mean, let's not forget that the points are from an entirely different series.
Exactly, and I don't think we explained that well enough at all. Did we explain that at all?
We explained it very well, but everyone forgot 6 videos later on when I made a claim, and everyone's like, but wait, what?
But wait, wasn't that back in Numeneko, though? Did we do another one in Higurashi?
We explained it in the very first video of Higurashi, and you've even forgotten.
I have forgotten. Of course I have. I don't remember this shit.
Exactly.
You think I pay attention to this series? I'm in it, but I don't pay attention. Point is...
Could you imagine how much of a travesty it would be as a live stream show?
Would be awful. And I tried live stream for a little bit. The internet just didn't hold up, unfortunately. But
I mean, that's we'd probably stream this if it wasn't for goddamn Australian internet.
That'd be great. I actually know. I've seen people do it. They have a good old time.
It takes 6 hours to upload a 1 hour video.
It does. It does. It's why it's just way safer for us to do it like this. Yeah, I mean, I streamed all of Rewrite myself just back one day. I'll do it for a podcast.
It was not one day.
It wasn't one day. It was many days, and it was awful. And it took me about twice as long as everyone else to read it because I was streaming it. But there was no way that I was getting through that final arc without having someone to shoot the shit with. Maybe we'll read that one day, or just the Lucia art, because that's the only part that matters. Point is...
visual novels are terrible.
They're awful. Hate them.
You're meant to disagree with me, Ben. That's your job.
No, I agree with you. No.
Okay. Well, I guess we just lost our audience. So thank you, everyone, for coming along.
Bye. This is the end. This is the end. We're never going to finish it until Manga Gamer finishes Arc 8. See you all in 10 years.
Manga Gamer, come on.
All right, so who is this? Is Akasaka?
I don't know.
I think it's going to be
Good work, everyone.
Good work, everyone.
I know it's hot, but please do your best. If you catch anybody illegally dumping, it's got to be Ooishi.
It's got to be. Because who else would say illegally dumping? Not Akasaka-san.
I don't know, the janitor.
Good work, everyone. I know it is hot, but please do your best. If you catch anybody illegally dumping, please contact someone immediately. We'll act very quickly.
Thank you for your cooperation, Ooishi-san.
We get points for that.
Do we?
We didn't really have it confirmed. I think we get 1 point.
Okay, let's take
1 point.
Let's take a point.
Yeah.
He's probably way in the lead anyway, but every time I say that we're in the lead,
we gotta get some points. We gotta get some points somehow.
Somehow. Please. A gap wide enough for a single car was opened up in the barricade. Oh, it wasn't Akasaka.
What?
Okay, don't worry.
What?
I read that top line half as Akasaka as a joke. And
did you think it wasn't Akasaka?
No, it's not Akasaka.
What? Who is it then?
It's the people at the barricade.
Oh, it is!
I'm taking our point away.
Oh. Well, that's alright. At least we tried. Whatever, dude.
It's all your fault, Ben. A gap wide enough for a single car was open in the barricade. Ooishi, showing his gratitude, or perhaps a threatening attitude, with a short beep on the horn, rolled the car forward through the checkpoint. This time, my appearance was the very embodiment of the word suspicious. Baseball cap, mask, and sunglasses. On top of that, even though it was sweltering, I was wearing a hoodie. Any respectable police officer would be loath to not stop me for questioning.
That's right. That thin film of sweat will let him blend right in with the locals.
I had meant to be overcautious, knowing full well that my face was known. But it might have already been too late for that to have any use. Using that as an excuse, I doffed the unbearably hot hoodie and windbreaker, ripped off the mask and hat, and threw them in the seat behind me.
Oh my! Is it okay?
It's so unsettling when there's no music in this novel.
Yeah, I mean, we had clicks before. We went to save, so I think it's fine.
With a cheap little disguise like this, they probably figured it out anyways.
That just might be the case.
She, probably thinking that my unexpected behavior was funny, continued to laugh.
No.
The beautiful, pristine scenery of Hinamizawa spread out before me. The village itself would have been quite beautiful if it weren't for the complicated circumstances surrounding it at the moment. I'd absolutely love to take Yukie here for a drive one day. Come to think of it, I didn't get a chance to call her last night. Played around with the idea in my head, but in reality this village wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. That does not sound like a line that came anywhere but from translation.
Yeah.
I'd heard everything at the prefectural headquarters. The heart of this village, the intelligence network that the three families wielded, was, due to blood ties and regional relationships, unbelievably well organized. Their net spread not just around Hinamizawa itself, but encapsulated the entirety of the city of Shishibone as well. When I first heard that, somewhere in the recesses of my mind, I didn't take it completely seriously. How could a local organization out in the boonies here have something so grandiose? I couldn't deny that somewhere in the back of my mind I had ridiculed the thought. I never heard Ryukishi repeat himself.
Me neither.
But not only were they really threatening the ministry, but they demonstrated that they had a complete grasp on our movements, which were supposed to be top secret. They were almost like the secret police that controlled a small Eastern European country, like in some spy novel. The villagers here wouldn't bat an eye at getting their hands dirty if it meant fighting the dam project. I also heard something like that at the prefectural headquarters. And now that you mention it, when I first arrived here, Ooishi also said that this place was a war zone, didn't he? The residents of this village were at the same time freedom fighters. Although by definition they were no different than guerrillas or militia. They weren't protected by the Geneva Convention, but they also didn't have to adhere to those rules either. This place was more of a quagmire than any legitimate battlefield. A secret war was unfolding. I could drive along because Ooishi was with me, but if I was to leave this car for even something as trivial as looking for a vending machine, there was a chance I wouldn't return. Even though a single shot hadn't been fired, this was a battlefield. And the reason why bullets weren't flying was simply because it was hard for a civilian to obtain a gun in Japan. So they were probably just equipped with weapons other than guns that were easier to obtain.
Watch out for those flying knives.
I mean, he is wearing a stab-proof vest.
He is, he's prepared.
I don't even need to read that line, we just covered it.
Ooishi knows what's up. Akasaka-san, are you nervous? Watch out for flying knives.
The fact I was apprehensive was of course picked up on by Ooishi. If you already figured it out, there was no point in trying to deny or hide it. Of course I am. We're headed into the heart of the enemy territory, alone, aren't we? I'm worried about if something unlikely happens with just the two of us.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try, or just the two of us. You and I.
Something unlikely?
Something unlikely? Nah, it'll be alright with just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
Isn't everybody in this village our enemy? If everybody gets their stories straight, they could just murder someone in broad daylight and there wouldn't be a shred of evidence. I'm asking about something like that.
Building castles to the sky.
This was what the ironclad rule of not barging into a Yakuza office alone was about. If there wasn't a neutral party involved that wasn't bound by the laws of common sense, something happened, you wouldn't be able to prove it, and there wasn't anybody who would take your side. It was pretty much the definition of poking the bear.
I've left word that we're headed towards the Hinamizawa area, and in the worst case, we've also got radio with sick tunes. I know you're scared, Akasaka-san, but it's not that easy to pull off the perfect crime. Well, of course, that doesn't mean we can let our guard down either.
Pause for effect.
Akasaka-san, you're too worked up over this. You were more relaxed the last time we came up here together, weren't you? Nah.
Laughing it off, Ooishi thumped his chest and grinned as if to say I could depend on him.
Well, if it gets really iffy, this comes with having the badge, yes.
Ooishi made a motion by sticking out his index finger. It was undoubtedly the image of a gun. Will it be of any use?
If you're not afraid of dealing with the aftermath after you shoot, it's actually very reassuring.
An officer's gun was only for show. If you really wanted to fire it, then there was quite a number of stipulations, and you had to be prepared for the long probationary period afterwards. That definitely wasn't worth it, so even if an officer did unholster his gun, there wasn't one who had actually wanted to pull the trigger.
Akasaka-san, are you carrying one? A piece?
Well, yeah.
You ever fired it?
I have. For training, though.
Well, I guess that'd be true. No,
Well then, have you, Ooishi-san?
Me? Nah, no, there's no way.
What's this? I thought he was laughing at me because he had experience. The two of us laughed together.
I've also never pointed barrel at anybody. I've looked down the barrel of a gun a few times, so just being made to look down the barrel like that is enough to shorten your lifespan by about 3 barrels.
Even if he had never fired a gun before, you couldn't even begin to compare the amount of experience that Ooishi had over me. At a time like this, I could only marvel again at how reliable Ooishi seemed. Reliable is not the word I would use.
It's definitely I would. He's just so dreamy.
That's not the word reliable.
Dreamy. Dreamy and reliable have like 3 letters are the same. You get that re part. REA, you got REA in there. No D's, M's, or Y's in reliable, but you know, it's alright.
I'll just take your word for it, Ben.
They're basically the same word. Come to think of it, I didn't want to come this way in the middle of the day, but there's no way for a car to get through other than here. Akasaka-san, just in case. Put that silly mask on again to hide your face, please.
What's the matter?
Can you not hear it? Because the air conditioning is too loud. I'll turn it off. Try opening the window.
Is it the Higurashi?
Is it time?
When I opened the window, a blast of hot air blew inside, and then I could hear angry yelling coming from far away.
There
There
it is. Thank goodness.
That was far too tense.
Ugh. But it's not just because, like, it's a scary story. It's because, like, what if our audio's broken?
Yep. That's my main fear in this entire novel.
As the audiophile, it is your job to be worried about the audio.
Exactly.
I just worry about getting food between episodes.
I see.
That's my main concern.
But then, that moment the forest gave way on either side of us, and our view expanded suddenly.
Oh, heck.
And there could be seen the Hinamizawa Dam construction grounds. The very front line for Hinamizawa Village.
We're absolutely opposed to the construction of the Hinamizawa Dam! It's so catchy.
It's so catchy. These people have clearly never done any classes on marketing,
I was gonna
branding.
say.
Like,
We really want you to stop and pick up and go home!
like, how easy is ban the dam? Like, come on! So simple, it's right there!
Look, that's trademarked. Ban the Dam has to be trademarked by someone. Surely. Right? Like, that's why they can't. They're gonna have these big, long, wordy things. It's so
I wonder if
bad.
this is just like 3 syllables in Japanese. Let's
It
quickly
probably
switch.
is.
Let's have a look. Is
I
it
hope
just 3
it is.
syllables in
I
Japanese?
hope so. Lord willing.
There's gotta be a faster way to switch.
It's definitely shorter. There's a button, isn't there? There's a button that
There's
lets you
gotta be. I
change
don't know what it is
languages.
there.
It might be L or J or something.
Let's press buttons randomly
Let's
until
do
it
it.
works.
No, screw it. Try it.
Is there a key controls list?
No.
Okay.
J or L.
Oh, it is L.
Nailed it.
There we
L for
go.
language.
Ah, so straightforward.
Done. I was thinking J for Japanese would be the other
You
one.
know that
but
there are
yeah.
comments about that on the previous video when we did it,
I
not there.
don't even care. I feel good for figuring it out myself.
So
You,
proud of
you vultures.
It doesn't like transition particularly smoothly.
No, it kind of
looks like it actually
scrolls.
like prints the text again.
Yeah, that is fun, isn't it? It's to like reload the whole page, I guess. Actually, if you click, does it? Oh,
What do you mean?
don't worry. Doesn't matter. Keep going.
Crackling blare of someone's voice sounded over an enormous loudspeaker. The roar of angry voices continued to rumble. The incredible volume had become a veritable sound cannon, spewing out its
Okay,
ammunition.
before you click, hit L now. Alright, so it does load the whole page. It doesn't like reset the page. Anyway, I was just curious. Just curious.
You know, you're right, because it did like reload the whole page in a Mineko.
Yeah.
Or like reset to the stop.
Yeah, I think it did, yeah. Anyway, that's fun.
Shout out.
Engines. Shout out to engines.
Shout out to the Chaos Gods.
Yeah.
And their Noise Marines.
Shout out to Noise Marines. Why?
Sound cannon?
I don't know what a sound cannon is. I'm sorry. I don't know that much 40k stuff.
God damn it.
I've been reading about Tau actually.
Really?
There's this guy on YouTube called
Let's
Luton. Go watch him.
Let's not discuss 40k any more than we already have.
Alright, fine.
The prefabricated side office was surrounded by 2 sets of high fences laden with barbed wire. Lined up in front of those fences were riot police in their vehicles, and surrounding it were the villagers. They howled out their protests against the dam as a single entity.
Oh, it's not too many of them today. We're in luck.
That's not too many.
Yeah, when there's a lot of them, the crowd reaches as far as the road. You wouldn't even be able to inch forward in a car.
At first, due to their overwhelming intensity, it looked to me like there were more people than there actually was, but upon closer inspection, there are at most 50 to 70 of
That's
them.
not too many. You can path for them.
The 6 or 7 propaganda trucks lined up that looked like they belonged to a band of thugs were a strange enough sight. The villagers were also wearing helmets and bandanas, as well as covering their faces with masks, adding to the oddity of it all. You'll fit right in!
Yeah.
The propaganda trucks, after braying their chorus, had their volume turned up even higher and began to flood the area with sutures.
I'm so ready.
To say that the noise was downright violent wouldn't be an understatement. From this distance, it was still this loud, and the glass in the office was probably rattling from the noise.
They can't do anything there but take it. Those riot squad guys, every one of them is wearing earplugs, but they're still having their hearing damaged.
R.I.P. the people protesting. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
poor subs.
Can't you do something about it with noise ordinance laws?
Our prefecture doesn't have any laws regarding noise ordinance. Also, there are sutras, right? We can't regulate religious activities. Those guys are pretty smart. Nah.
Is what I think Ooishi said. I like that. It's a decent line, but very clunkily delivered.
Yeah.
Actually, no matter how tightly the window was shut, the booming sound of the sutras still filled the car. I couldn't even hear what Ooishi, who was sitting right next to me, was saying. As the car approached the line of propaganda trucks, the blare became difficult to bear. It wasn't enough to just plug my ears with my fingers, I had to hold my head to keep my skull from splitting apart. If I had seen this terrifying energy sooner, I would have probably understood what Hinamizawa village was much quicker. Now I knew. They wouldn't blink an eye at sacrificing themselves in order to protect their hometown. So goddamn noisy. Shut up, shut up, shut up! I had throbbed and felt like it was going to split apart, my eardrums crackled, and on top of it all, I felt like I was going to throw up.
Damn, it's intense.
It's so intense!
I feel like I'm really there.
I'd love to get an actual decibel count in here, because I'm that inclined.
Just so you know exactly how much damage is being done to our ears right now. That'd be very interesting. I wonder what they're saying.
With the road crowded and throngs of squatters, the propaganda trucks, and the riot police's vehicles, it was in no way easy to get by, even if you tried to shoot the squatters with the car horn. And they were also wearing earplugs, oblivious to the noises from the outside world, and wouldn't easily move. The car could only inch forward at a snail's pace. Even then, the car eventually got through, starting to leave the tumultuous noise behind. It's probably still quieter than you, Ben.
Wow, got me.
Got him.
How dare you? That was totally improv, and you didn't steal it from anyone else. Shout out to our one audience.
One audience. That's his name.
One audience?
Yes.
Perfect. Hey, the bald guy that was playing mahjong with us last night. Remember him?
I remember there was an older person who didn't exactly mince words. The guy that Ooishi called Old Man. There was someone like that.
You'll see, he is foreman of the main construction site. He's probably holed up in that old prefab building, trying to work while irritated out of his mind. Poor fella.
You wouldn't be able to stand it if it's like that every day.
Yeah, there's no end to the number of people who can't handle it and quit, but every time that happens, their wages go up, so I won't say it's in vain. No,
Even having to deal with all that noise and hostility, they still made a wage that Ooishi found enviable.
Damn it, these guys. Can they hear or can't they?
A group of squatters were in the way of the car. Ooishi, sufficiently annoyed, laid into the horn, but there was no indication that they were moving anytime soon.
Run them over.
In this din, could they not even hear a car horn? Or did they hear it and were being malicious? If there were any riot police nearby, they would have made people move, but it just so happened there weren't any around here.
Jeez, wait just a minute.
Ooishi opened up the door, and the hot air and even more heated roar of the crowd spilled into the car.
Whoa!
Ooishi said something as he grinned widely, but I couldn't hear what it was. He was getting them to move, something like that. Ooishi stepped out of the car and closed the door. The din faded slightly.
Oh.
I stared blankly as Ooishi headed towards the group and started some sort of conversation.
This when someone like jumps in the car and like kidnaps Akasaka.
I hope so.
I hope that's what happens.
Maybe we'd find the minister's grandson at Takatsudo. At the very least, I wanted to find him there. Find him and slip the cursed bonds of this incomprehensible village. I could only pray. At that moment, a shadow was suddenly cast over me.
Shit.
Somebody was standing right outside the passenger side window, blocking the sunlight. I spun around, looked up,
and
realized who the backlit figure was.
Hello!
Is she even tall enough to appear in the window of a car?
Apparently. Maybe she's standing on a small box.
You're right. Just carries it with her. It was a girl. It was Rika Furude. The girl stared down at me with a bored look in her eyes. Didn't have any justification for it, but I felt like I had been found by somebody I shouldn't be found by. To fill the silence, I raised my hand as I mouthed a meek greeting. Of course, there was no way she heard my small voice in this clamor.
She better shank you.
But even then, she should have seen me wave my hand in greeting. In spite of that, she simply stared down at me with a cold look on her face. At that moment, the noise and heat spread throughout the car once again. Ooishi had returned to the driver's seat. Taking a look, the group that were blocking the road had started to move aside while glaring our way.
But it was Rika in the Ooishi outfit, and she's gonna kidnap him.
That sounds about right.
That's it. Sorry to keep you waiting, shall we go?
She registered the figure of the girl behind me, and the villagers came over and picked her up.
What?
In a manner of it's dangerous, so get away. It was then that she whispered one or two words, however, I couldn't hear any of it.
Well then, let's go. I'm going to gun it, okay? But of course, still within the speed limit, because I am good cop.
That's right. As if to shake off the still audible angry voices, Ooishi floored the gas. Along with the roar and the din and the shouting, the villagers and the girl quickly disappeared behind us.
As soon as we're through here, we're in Takatsudo. Are you okay if we end up getting into a firefight? Don't be fumbling with the safety at the last moment you hear. No,
She laughed mockingly again. I was more concerned with what the girl had said, however, as I was vaguely bothered by it. What was she trying to say with that apathetic and candid expression?
Suppose it's normal if you're nervous from here on out, but if you don't deal with it, there's a chance you might do something rash.
There was no longer any way to confirm what the girl had tried to tell me. It might have been that the girl who warned me to go back to Tokyo again, or else saying to me who was here now, ignoring that warning. Even though I warned you. What a fool. I had the feeling she said something like that. She mouthed 2 words, didn't she?
Maybe in Japanese that is 2 words. Who knows?
It's too late. We can't check now.
It's true. Failed.
We have. Do we get tips? Is that tips?
It must be.
No, it's not tips.
Oh,
See, it's more than 2.
Normally it's 2.
I told you, Ben.
It's normally 2.
Amateur.
It's not my fault. It's only been 20 minutes.
That is a derelict-looking shack.
It is awful.
Well, actually, the shack doesn't look too bad, but the piles of wooden planks
stuff,
and like, is that an engine in the front there?
An engine or like a tractor, because I'm pretty sure it's a wheel on top, right?
Yeah.
And then what's that on the left there? Is that like a light or a door? I don't even know.
Just a dislodged window?
Yeah. Looks
This
awful.
is double feature time.
Clean it up, fools!
If you recall Hinamizawa a rather lonely village, then Takatsudo was outright desolate. For your everyday city boy like me, I just couldn't understand why anybody would force themselves to live here. There were signs that people had, but they were all covered in dust or enveloped in ivy, indicating that it was all abandoned. People really lived in a place like this, didn't they?
Well, it was a long time ago. A remote place like this is pretty rough for old folk to live. And the younger people probably wanted to try living in a more suitable place. If there's nobody left to take the reins, all that gets left is this.
Even if I had no personal attachment to the village, seeing the disused buildings made me feel a little sentimental.
Attach? Is that how you spell attachment? There's an extra T in there.
Just let it slide.
We should.
It seemed that Ooishi also felt the same way.
Yes, he did.
Was the wallet found over here? The person who found it must have had a good reason for coming out to this desolate place.
Yeah, there's some villages who have a field out in the mountains here. They pass by here in the morning and evenings.
The villagers who work in the fields walk by here every day.
No way! They probably go as far as they can by car.
So in the early mornings and evenings, they pass by here and just happen to find a single wallet.
They probably did. Nah.
Where exactly did they say they found it?
In a thicket just a bit further ahead. The person who found the wallet just happened to have some stomach cramps, and was planning to use the thicket to do his business, it seems. It was there he happened to find it.
What a fucking story.
Probably hoping there was some toilet paper in there. No
Everything about that story just seems a little too convenient. From the discovery of the wallet, I just can't shake the feeling something's off. I expressed the feeling that I had from the start of the day, quite frankly. It seemed to be too good to be true, but it was unwavering proof. But it was too perfect, sickeningly so. That was my feeling.
You might actually be onto something by saying it's all a little too perfect.
Meaning?
The truth is, I heard a little something from a friend of mine in the 4th Division, where Oreo Sonozaki referenced the kidnapping of the minister's grandson.
She referenced it.
Yes, it's been several days since the minister's grandson has been kidnapped. The poor boy. It'd be nice if they let him go soon. It seems that old Oreo muttered something like that while on her veranda, and that little musing was conveyed to the various people working deep behind scenes at the Sonozaki family.
Right, I had heard something earlier from Sato-san, the informant. It was when the leader Oreo had a concern somebody in the family would be considerate. So in essence, she gave the order to release the hostage.
I see it that way. The wallet being conveniently discovered was just a ploy to hand the boy over to the police.
Why would they release the hostage?
Well, there's only one reason why somebody would release a hostage, isn't there?
What is it?
They reached a deal. That would mean the minister promised to halt the Hinamizawa Dam projects.
Dam project will definitely go away. That moment those words that the girl had said resurfaced in the back of my mind. In the end, it was turning out exactly as she'd proclaimed. That young girl knew the circumstances. She knew everything about this kidnapping incident from the beginning to the end. Is Rika responsible for the kidnapping?
Who knows? Akasaka.
The girl
Oh. You know what? I call bullshit on that.
I'm taking points for that.
We take points from that.
We're taking points.
4 points.
4 whole points?
Yeah, Akasaka.
There we go.
4 points.
The girl unexpectedly called
Do I
my
not
name.
get this?
No, you live with your mistakes.
Akasaka. There we go, done.
What is it?
Go back to Tokyo. Before long, you will woefully regret coming to this village. That would be an incredibly pathetic thing to see. So I thought I'd warn you right now.
Why would I come to regret it?
Stop whining. When you tried crossing the road, when the don't walk sign was up, did your parents finish explaining why it was dangerous before pulling you back to the sidewalk? They'd pull you back right away, wouldn't they? They'd pull you back before explaining why it was dangerous, wouldn't they? In other words, it's something like that. Aha!
Ugh, that laughter every goddamn time. It's so
canned
it's a
laughter.
bad clip.
It's so good.
The girl who knew everything from start to finish had warned me in the beginning, go back to Tokyo.
Akasaka is such a coward. We'll probably find the boy, but what happens afterwards will probably be a bit of a problem. How it'll be a problem though is something a single officer like me can't figure out.
Do you know a girl named Rika Furude? What I had said was such a non sequitur that Ooishi had sat in stunned silence for a while.
Of course I know her. She's the only daughter of the Furude family. One of the 3 families, yes.
What kind of a girl is she?
Well, this was an unexpected name to hear. I'm a bit surprised. Does public safety think that the Furude family smells fishy? It wants to keep an eye on them.
Is this the first time Ooishi's been wrong about guessing what Akasaka's doing?
Maybe. Share some of that information with me, please.
No, it's not like that. It's just something that caught my attention.
Well, whatever. It wouldn't do not to answer a question from a friend I've sat at the same table with.
I'm honored that you call me a friend.
A fool. So, that little lady is somewhat of a village mascot. She's beloved by everybody in the village. Some of the older folk worship her especially.
Worship?
I don't know much about it, you see. Girls born in the Furude family have somewhat of a sacred implication, it seems. It's one of the local beliefs in Hinamizawa. The living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama or something like that. So the story goes, apparently.
Oyashiro-sama. Now you mention it, I think I saw Oyashiro-sama written on some of the Alliance's barriers. What is that exactly?
It is the name of the guardian deity of Hinamizawa. They believe it'll exact punishment on those who would do ill towards the village. Well, if there was such a convenient god around, the guys at the dam would have long since been done in by divine justice. Luckily, nothing like that has happened to anybody just yet.
Grandson of the minister who trifled with the village as a result of Oyashiro-sama's anger was, what do they call it again? Alright, Onikakashi. The minister's grandson was demoned away. That'll probably be how the script is being written.
I see. It probably would turn into something like that.
Divine punishment wrought by Oyashiro-sama. The culprit is the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama. That girl. Even I didn't know exactly what I was saying. The fact that Ooishi laughed it off was a bit of a relief. Oishi's joyous laughter was so infectious that I began to laugh like an idiot as well. But he's probably right.
Maybe. Who knows? Oh, this is unusual.
Ooishi, after laying into the horn several times, rolled the window down and leaned out, waving his arm in an exaggerated manner. There was a car headed the opposite way. Until now, we hadn't run into any other cars except our own. And of all places, it was this desolate location.
Who could it be?
It seemed that Ooishi knew the owner of that car.
Who could it be?
Who could it be?
So ready.
The other car also chirped its horn and came to a stop.
Dr. Irie, good afternoon!
The other car's window rolled down slowly, revealing a young man in a white overcoat. He was about my age or perhaps a bit older. You really can't judge somebody by their appearance.
Oh boy. Why, if it isn't Ooishi-san, good afternoon. Fancy meeting you here. That's my line, Doctor. I never thought I'd see you here. What happened? Oh, nothing. Just a little house call. Oh, really? Was it an emergency? No, nothing quite that serious, thankfully. No, I'll take my leave here. If I don't get back quickly, my staff will be angry with me. Being the head of a clinic must be tough. Well then, take care.
That scripting was really jank. I had to click like multiple times to get a line to pause.
I was wondering what was happening there.
Yeah.
It was great.
The young doctor named Iria, after gesturing his farewell, drove forwards and soon disappeared around a corner.
Bye.
She also drove forwards, but soon came to a stop again. He pulled out a worn map book from the dash. His expression didn't have an ounce of irreverence. He was perfectly serious. What is it?
The clinic shouldn't be making any house calls today. It must have been quite an emergency, otherwise a patient with some extenuating circumstances.
Rishi flipped through the pages opening up to the map of Takatsudo. After that, he took a look around and started to figure out what our current location was. You're saying this emergency is suspicious?
Didn't I say there's hardly anybody that lives in the Takatsudo area? Their old one right now is here, though the area came from this direction.
Having no sense of our surroundings, I couldn't digest anything about the place he was indicating on the map.
We're heading towards the spot where Ward was found. By the way, that's over here. But see, if you're heading to one of the few residences in Takatsudo, it's the wrong route.
Meaning Dr. Iria came from a direction where there are no residents.
As long as somebody working in the fields between these mountains didn't collapse. But if somebody collapses and you call a doctor, normally you'd bring them back with you for a more detailed examination.
But just now Dr. Iria said it was nothing serious, and it didn't seem like anybody else was in the car with him. She didn't say any more than that. I also said nothing more. And that doctor just now examined a patient, close by. Only that. The noisy radio had suddenly gone quiet. The sky had just as suddenly turned an oppressive color. As Ooishi mused that it might start to rain, a torrential downpour started, as though trying not to disappoint him.
How convenient.
Eventually, Ooishi stopped the car. Only sounds to break the silence were the percussion of the rain on the roof and the soft squeak of the windshield wipers.
Let's do this a bit hush-hush, shall we?
Saying that in a quiet voice, he exited the car without an umbrella, careful not to make any noise. Ooishi leaned over, indicating on the other side of the thicket. He was pointing to a prefabricated shed and a car that was parked beside it. The car looked obviously well cared for. It wasn't a vehicle that had been left there for several years. What's that shed?
It contains equipment used by the forestry service. I heard that they don't go near it except during the summertime.
Does that car belong to somebody from the forestry service, then?
Dunno! It doesn't look like an official vehicle, though.
Ooishi was playing it cool, but my nervousness was gradually increasing.
Just in case.
Saying that, Ooishi returned to the car. I thought he was going to get an umbrella, but he grabbed the onboard radio instead.
I guess he already has his piece on him. Hello, this is Ooishi. Do you read? Greetings. No, Yes, this is Okonomi SP Ooishi-san. Ooishi reads you loud and clear over. I'm currently in front of the forestry services equipment shed, not the one in the direction of Yagochi, the one in Takatsudo. If you head there from Hinamizawa. Affirmative, copy that. There's some suspicious people in the shed. Proceeding to investigate. If you don't hear back from me in 5 minutes, get in touch with local police substation. Have them send a cruiser as soon as possible. If you would, please, Ooishi. Understood! Field Ooishi. Well then. Shall we go take a look? No,
I'm spooked solid.
You'll be fine. Since he was first confined here, he had heard the sound of a car multiple times. So he just thought the far-off sound was more of the same. However, the reaction from his captors was, until now, something he had not seen before. They jumped, reacting as if shocked by a jolt of electricity, and pressed against the window, cautiously peering outside.
They stopped.
Somebody from the forestry service? This is bad.
Looks like a cop to me.
One of the captors lifted the boy by his collar and pressed a blade against his cheek. Hey kid, keep quiet for a bit. I think you know this, but if we try and shout, there'll be problems. Jerry Inugai was sure that the doctor had reported things to the police. He had felt relief when he thought that he was saved, but not imagining that his captors would resort to violence when they were cornered. His anxiety remained unabated. What do we do?
To buy time, take the kid and slip out the back. We'll meet back here when the heat's off.
One of the perpetrators grabbed the boy by the collar and forced him to stand. Of course, Jerry Inugai tried to resist by feigning that his illness had been aggravated by this rough treatment, but his captors paid no heed. Bang, bang, bang!
So let's do this quietly, he said.
The door was violently banged upon. Excuse me, hello? Bang, 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 bang! The door was banged on again. Jerry Inugai hesitated for a moment to respond to that voice by yelling. However, while he was being indecisive, his mouth was covered, taking that option away from him. The leader of the captors waved at the other to go. The younger perpetrator nodded in response and while keeping the boy's mouth covered, started heading towards the back door.
Yeah, did you need something?
How do you do? This is police. Would you mind opening door? This sudden rain has us in a bit of trouble.
Just open the...
Bam! The moment the lock was undone, Ooishi forced the door open, and with a gleam of menace in his eyes, he pushed the man aside as he stepped into the room. Then, in the small and empty room, he was able to quickly discern that the boy he was looking for was nowhere to be seen. I heard this was equipment shed for forestry service, but there's nothing here at all. There was nothing inside the room that would indicate this was an equipment shed.
I've never heard Ryukashi repeat himself.
There's nothing here! There was nothing there. Ooishi loudly stated to the audience, there was nothing there. I can hear you, narrator. Would you please stop taking my lines?
I feel like...
I had to feed kids.
You could have just said, Ooishi was right.
Yeah. There are shorthand ways.
You know,
yeah.
because it could have been a joke, but...
Yeah. He was telling the truth, that you add something to it.
Yeah.
There was only a mountain of blankets, so there wasn't nothing. There was only a mountain of blankets indicating that someone was sleeping here alongside empty food packets strewn about.
It's been empty for some time now. Never seen no equipment stored around here.
Well, this is the Forestry Services building, isn't it? Are you from the Forestry Service?
How about ya, please?
The two of them glared at each other suspiciously. Both Ooishi and the man steadfastly refused to reveal their identity before the other did.
Because I'm sure people in this village wouldn't know Ooishi.
Yeah. The man, judging from the sharp look in Oishi's eyes, realized that it would very hard to talk his way out of this one. No matter what he said, the most time he could buy would probably be only a few dozen seconds precisely. 36 seconds.
Exactly.
Exactly 36 seconds. Only the sound of rain filled this tense moment. Oh! Just then they heard the sound of a struggle from far off. Ooishi had a hunch. There was no doubt that Akasaka, who was circling around back, had run into the perpetrators who were trying to slip away.
But who won?
It's a great question. Let's cut to it! As Ooishi thought that, the man in front of him reacted a moment faster. The man swung with an attack that was more intended to obscure Oishi's vision rather than actually hit him in the face. Seizing his opportunity, the man aimed a kick at Oishi's groin without any hesitation, but he missed his mark and was unable to land that critical blow. The man trying to pin Ooishi grabbed him by the base of his neck with both hands and fiercely tried to push him down. But as Ooishi fell backwards, as if kicking the man upward, he dug his foot into the man's midsection. Is this the first proper fight scene that Ooishi tried to write?
This is.
Yeah, this is fun. With that leg acting as a fulcrum, the man was flung by the falling Ooishi as if by a circle throw.
Woo! It's a good image.
Yeah. The two of them squared off in the pouring rain. Isn't this interesting? You wanna go? Nah!
I like the idea that he just still has his suit jacket tucked over his arm the whole fight.
Ooishi, as if trying to cheer himself on, grinned smugly. I will fight you one-handed.
He's like a fucking matador with the suit jacket.
Come at me, bro. He then stood up while brushing the mud off himself. Even though he countered the assault, Ooishi was getting up rather awkwardly compared to the man who he threw, who swiftly sprang to his feet.
Ooishi-san, hurry!
Akasaka's voice rang out from the distance. Judging from the distress in his voice, he was already engaged in a fight and wanted Ooishi to reconvene with him. But Oishi's hands were full as well. Just cut that page. Akasaka-san! Sorry, but can you wait a little bit? I have to dance with boy here! The man raised both fists into a stance that hinted at him being acquainted with karate or some other form of martial art. Of course, Ooishi, as an officer of the law, was decently versed in judo. He also had the moxie to have been through his fair share of fights before, mostly in bars, I imagine, or around the mahjong table. Because of that, he could tell that the man in front of him was quite a bit better at fighting than he was. Ah, damn it! Thinking that this was going to be easy just because the order came from the Sonozaki family to release the hostage, that had been a big mistake!
That's a bad sentence.
Reveal! You're pretty good! It's been a while since I got this worked up. Not for full. Ooishi played off the situation like it was no film sweat. His opponent, seeing his attitude, took that to mean that Ooishi wasn't going to go down easily. The man wildly charged forward, attempting to grab Ooishi. If the man managed a successful clinch from his low stance, Ooishi would be tackled to the ground and end up being mounted. It was something you saw often when children fought, but it really was a bad position since you couldn't do much once you were in it. Ooishi, responding to that move, also lowered his stance to collide with the man head on, like a bull. The moment they clashed, Ooishi grabbed the man's lapel.
Lapel?
As he grabbed, is it lapel?
Lapel.
Lapel? Grabbed the man's lapel. As he yanked the lapel upwards, he smashed into the man's solar plexus with the elbow of the same arm. It was a move from Ooishi's own personal brand of brawling judo.
I'm much more impressed with this fight than I am with most of the ones that we got in Umineko.
Yeah?
Because it seemed in Umineko that the only move he knew was the reverse roundhouse.
It's a good move.
But this is like actually getting into a bit of gritty detail. It's like,
pretty good.
It's not particularly tidily...
No, it's not like quick or punchy, but it is like well described.
Yeah.
Right?
I have a clear visual image.
Yeah. He then grabbed on with his free hand and attempted to throw his opponent with both hands. But the man lowered his center of gravity and swung his arms in a large arc, entwining them with Ooishi's Hara magic. Not only that, but he had forced both of Ooishi's elbows to the outside, and Ooishi, now in an awkward position, was in danger of exposing his back with his hands still clutching the man's chest. You know, they say you're supposed to write fighting like a dance. Like a dance fight. I'm feeling that. This guy practiced Aikido or grappling, didn't he? Ooishi, cursing the fact that his fingers were twisted into the man's shirt and couldn't get away, released his grip. But he was still in the awkward position of being bent over. And to top it off, at zero range, the man was able to read Ooishi's movements completely as he tried to squirm his way into a better position.
The clunkiest part of this scene is just him saying "the man" every single time.
It's great. Just give him a name. It was just like Jacket Man. You know, Jacket Man. Give him a theme song. And then took the palms of his hands and swiftly clapped them over both of Ooishi's ears. Oh, that's messed up.
BM.
Ah! Clapping the ears in any other martial art except for self-defense was basically forbidden. Karate and Judo didn't recognize it as a legal technique. It was that much of a simple and a dangerous attack. Ooishi raised both his hands as he tried to reflexively clutch at his own ears. But before that could happen, the man wrapped his arms around Ooishi's neck. His thick biceps clenched firmly around the base of Ooishi's neck like a vice. You think Ooishi might lose here?
I mean, I hope not.
That would really suck. Ooishi instinctively thought he was going to be killed. After all, it wasn't hard to believe that a man like this, who was accustomed to fighting, could crush his opponent's neck in this position. But his opponent didn't do that. He had chosen to keep his hold and force Ooishi to lose consciousness. That's why Ooishi at that moment, even though his face was twitching, was grinning widely. Even though his opponent had a chance to kill him, he didn't choose to. He was thinking, this guy has no intention of killing me. However, even though that might be the case, the man's hold on his neck was by no means gentle. In no time at all, Ooishi's consciousness began to fade. Having the experience of being taken down countless times in judo during his student days, Ooishi was utterly resigned to the fact that it was over.
Is this where we discover that Akasaka's a master brawler as he comes in and saves Ooishi?
He's hoping. Akasaka was finally recovering from the intense pain of being kicked in a rather sensitive area. He had bumped into the captor carrying the boy by the back entrance. He had seen Jerry Inugai's picture plenty of times, but wasn't able to immediately ascertain if the boy in front of him was the real deal. It could have been some other random kid, some other Jerry.
Yeah, with his mouth taped in the middle of the woods.
Maybe it's Jerry Seinfeld! Oh!
It's terrible.
What with his
Carry
mouth
on.
covered in packing tape. Also, with his limited experience, it wasn't hard for him to panic over how to deal with the situation. Of course, the perpetrator didn't overlook this momentary lapse.
God damn it.
His kick landed squarely in a critical spot, with Akasaka not even having time to call for help. As the man flung the boy over his shoulder, he headed towards the front of the shed. But upon hearing Ooishi's bellowing voice, he gave up on going in that direction. He then dashed off towards the forest, as if the weight of the boy slung over his shoulder wasn't even there. Akasaka was lost for a moment. Meeting up with Ooishi, who was fighting with the enemy, was by far the safer option. But he couldn't just lose sight of the fleeing man. Akasaka stood up and chased after the captor's back, as opposed to his front. He ran through a short thicket, branches and fallen leaves crunching underfoot. The tips of branches raked and clawed at him, small scratches inscribing themselves on his body, one after another. He kept one stepping into puddles and mud, and his shoes were soon filled with murky water. For Akasaka, traveling through this unexplored forest was, even though this was an emergency situation, extremely unpleasant.
Stop, this is the police.
No, fuck you! As he said that, he regretted it immediately, as it was but a waste of breath. There wasn't a thief in the world that would politely stop when told to by the police, unless they were like really polite. You know, just like really good people on the inside.
Okay, I agree.
To a city boy like Akasaka, running through this forest was an arduous task. He's used to like jumping over fences and stuff, like in Hot Fuzz. However, it must have been no easy task either for the man carrying the minister's grandson, Jerry Seinfeld. He neither gained nor lost ground in his pursuit. Akasaka, upon realizing that, gained back a bit of composure. Just keep on chasing him. We were running in the same conditions.
In fact, the man running with an awkward stride was at a far more of disadvantage. He couldn't run forever. Eventually, he'd definitely trip and fall. As long as he was being hounded, he would definitely stumble. That ignores your own ability to stumble,
It's true. One of us will probably stumble at some point.
and soon his wish was fulfilled.
Whoa!
The man who had stepped in something and lost his balance was no longer able to bear the weight of the boy, dropping him. Akasaka, in all honesty, didn't care about the perpetrator at all.
Just as long as he could ensure the safety of Jerry Inugai. So if the perpetrator ran off by himself, it was perfectly acceptable. But it seemed that Jerry Inugai was important to the man as well, and didn't elect to just run away empty-handed.
I feel like your tone of voice is severely taking away from what little tension this scene might
I
have.
can't help myself. I'm sorry. Akasaka didn't know what to do with this kind of situation. His first priority should probably be to ensure the safety of the boy, subduing his captor being less important. Grappling with the perpetrator wasn't something he planned on, but most likely it was either do or die. Akasaka's moment of indecision proved to be fatal. The man aiming right between, or rather for both of Akasaka's eyes, struck out with a jab. Not wanting that, Akasaka, understandably, raised both his hands to shield his face. At that moment, the man kicked at his unguarded midsection. The pain almost felt like his vital organs were being squeezed out of his body, but he latched onto his opponent's leg. But his opponent didn't hesitate one bit. Leading with his seized foot, the man jumped at Akasaka, applying pressure and pushing him down. Akasaka was unable to withstand that and fell, but under no circumstances was he letting that leg go. The two men fell together in a tangled heap. The man was desperate to pull his leg free from Akasaka, but having fallen in an awkward position, was unable to. The two of them rolled around on the ground, floundering about trying to gain an advantage, but Akasaka, who was holding onto his opponent's knee with both hands, and that opponent who had complete freedom to move his upper body, were in two completely different situations. The man gained a positional advantage on Akasaka, who was still lashed onto his leg and couldn't move away, and pounded full force on his head with both of his fists. Not only that, he found a rock nearby and beat it against Akasaka's skull! Exclamation point.
That's probably the worst single line in this whole scene so far.
Not only that! Not only did he hit them with his fists, but also a rock. A I'll be honest, I'm just thinking of JonTron. I'm just thinking the way that he narrates shit.
Yeah,
That's exactly
right.
what I'm channeling in this moment.
It's just
thwack, thwack, thwack!
like it's
It was also the fault of this person and that person.
I have a pretty clear mental image of what's going on here, but that
great.
doesn't make this scene any better.
That said, and I'm sure we'll probably talk about this more in the recap, but like, this is his first attempt at a proper fight scene.
Yeah.
And if there are any more in this series, hopefully he gets better, you know?
Hopefully.
Thwack, thwack, thwack.
I feel like, well, I mean, I wouldn't even really call this his first fight scene. Like, the death of Tepe in last arc
I suppose
was
so.
kind of written in this style, and that,
A little bit.
That felt a lot, I mean...
That was less of a fight and more of like a chase or a hunt.
Yeah.
And that was definitely supported a lot by the kind of internal
character,
monologue that we
yeah.
had with Keiichi and how he, like we talked about this before, but like how he, he's trying to build up this idea in his mind of what the murder's going to be like, and then it isn't like that at all, and that very much supports the scene. This isn't really supported by anything.
Yeah.
There wasn't much of a build up to this. The difference between being hit by a fist and being hit with a rock was vast. Akasaka quickly thought of letting go of the man's leg to free his hands to protect his head. But if he let go here, the man would get away. If he didn't dig in here, everything would be for naught. The boy he was trying to save was right there. He was going to save him and go back to Tokyo. If he could do that, then it was goodbye to this freakish village with the weird kids that run around and tell you that you need to leave.
Yep.
Bam, crack, thud! Without looking, I could tell.
My forehead had split and open, was gushing blood. But I didn't let go of the man's leg. How could I? I wouldn't let go. The man realized that no matter how much he beat my head, he wasn't getting away. He used both his hands to grab my throat as if to crush my windpipe.
Oh shit.
I pulled my head back as a slight form of resistance, but it was no use. The man's hand enveloped my neck and began to crush it like a vice. It was less about the pain of not being able to breathe so much as it was choking so hard I felt like I was going to throw up. I felt like my stomach was going to turn itself inside out. I could only endure it. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it!
Damn it, damn it, damn it!
My throat hurts! I can't let go. It's getting very anime.
It's great.
I didn't want to be here. I wanted to resolve this and go back to Tokyo. Back to Tokyo and talk to Yukie all about an unborn child. And just, what the fuck? This page. We're gonna talk about our bright future!
This is something that is well established by this arc at this point, guys. Come on. Well, I like Akasaka, but yeah, this is not, like, this doesn't feel earned,
No,
I think is the
this
problem.
doesn't at all. I had no intention of loosening my grip, however. Loosened just a bit and the man's leg came free. The man kicked as hard as possible and I stumbled backwards. My head was spinning and I was unable to get up right away. No, I couldn't even put any strength into getting up in the first place. Even so, I couldn't back down. If I let him escape now, this chance would never come again. Even just catching their scent was nothing short of a miracle. Is it?
Yeah.
You were standing at the door that they came out of. What the fuck are you on? I guess the wallet, but I'm presuming
that's what he's talking about. He's about, like, in general, the fact that, like, we found the wallet and we saw Irie and we went here and we found the right house.
I see. I'm thinking that
no one got away.
That was all part of someone's scheme.
Maybe.
That's why that didn't jump to my mind at first.
I don't think we part of someone's scheme. We don't know anyone who deals in miracles.
If we weren't able to get the minister's grandson back here, there wouldn't be another chance. The man tried to drag the boy to his feet, but the kid was displaying some unexpected resistance, allowing me to get up unnoticed.
Nice.
I grasped the rock the man had just beat me over the head with. Now it's my turn. Yar!
Like a pirate! Yeah!
The rock should be able to supplement what meager strength I had left, adding more than enough power to my attack.
So you're gonna take it down with one hit?
Are we about to go into fight math again?
Hopefully.
My fist still wrapped around the rock dug into the side of the man's torso. It seems like it hurt him quite a bit. The man rolled around for a bit, clutching his side. Freed from the man's grip, the boy hid behind me.
Good on you, Jerry!
Jerry, new guy, right? I've come to help you.
Oh boy!
To the boy, those were the words he was waiting for the most, but the crisis was still not over. That's because even though he was still clutching at his side, the man had gotten up again and taken a fighting stance. I could see in the man's eyes the resentment at the pain I had caused him and the confidence that he could still beat me. If we were to clash head-on again, he might not even stop if my head were split open. Stop resisting, surrender quietly, said one of them.
You should just hand the boy over! You want me to snap your neck?
Who would listen to you now? Reinforcements are already on their way. There's nowhere for you to run. The man reacted adversely to the word reinforcements. That was because he now knew that arguing like this wasn't just a waste of time, but put him closer and closer to danger.
Well, it wasn't just waste of time. I want to
Oh, you're
just
quite
make
right.
sure that you get it right.
Realizing that, the man shifted mental gears almost too quickly.
Then let's finish this farce. How about this?
Whoa!
Oh, whoa!
The man pulled from his back pocket was, of all things, a gun. Of course, I'm a police officer. It's not like I don't know what a gun is. Having one pointed at me was something I'd never experienced before. Was it real? Of course it was. There's no way I had to be a replica in a situation like this.
Put both your hands behind your head and lay down quietly.
Don't get cocky, you villain. I won't do anything you say. Yeah, you villain!
Yeah, you villain!
You evil boy!
I'm the paladin here. I mean, the police officer.
God damn it.
You stupid idiot. Do you not know what this is without me shooting you with it?
And shoot, reinforcements will hear the gunshot and head right over here.
Ah, you stupid. We're in the middle of the forest, and on top of that, it's raining. I'll never hear a thing.
Well, then
You
shoot him.
can't, you can't, look, I'm just saying, you can't hear a gunshot through rain.
If he's that
It's
confident...
like the sound of a wine bottle's, like, cork popping.
Yes. As long as he still held that gun, no matter how much I yelled at him, I was at a distinct disadvantage. But I still had a fighting chance. If I were in his shoes, instead of wasting time yelling at each other like this, I would just shoot him and take the boy. That way was the fastest and would suppress my sort of further resistance from it. But the man was demanding my surrender without having fired a shot, meaning that he either didn't want to shoot or couldn't. In other words, the man in front of me was soft. If I could buy even just a little more time, the factors that would lead to my victory were numerous. Wish he was probably on his way, and the reinforcements we called for before coming here should already be well on their way too. Not only that, they should have contacted the local police box. Without a doubt, somebody stationed in the village would be here much quicker than that.
Damn it! Do I have to put a bullet in you to understand how dangerous this thing is?
There's no escape. Don't add to your crimes. That moment I heard the rustling of foliage and heavy footsteps approaching.
Is it our boy?
If Ooishi was coming here, it was a whole new ballgame. The man couldn't have more than one gun. Ooishi-san, over here! Over here! Huh? I thought the time was on my side, but I had failed to even imagine the enemy could also have reinforcements.
Shit.
You tell the man who had just appeared was one of the perpetrators just by looking at him.
What are you doing? If you don't hurry up, the police will get here. Stop lollygagging.
What about Ooishi?
Damn it, what happened to Ooishi-san?
That's what I said.
The chubby fella, he's down for the count.
Yes, damn it. The boy, sensitive to the impending danger, curled up behind my back. How could this be? Damn it.
Your buddy isn't coming. Serves you right. Shoes on the other foot now.
So I backed up against a large tree while still protecting the boy. The second man also pulled out a gun.
I won't be saying this twice. Put your hands on your head and lie down.
I refuse.
Bang!
Bang! As I shouted in protest, blood erupted from my left shoulder. It took a few moments to register that I had been shot.
Oh shit.
Compared to the ones from the movies and TV dramas, the first actual gunshot I heard was simple and mundane. In fact, the sound was more akin to the small fireworks I used to buy from the corner store as a kid.
There you go.
There was no comparing the pain. It was a fear you only knew after you've been shot.
Sir,
It's the kid!
what am I doing? What am I doing? Sir, are you okay? Are you okay?
The boy in his confusion tugged at my clothes, agitating the wound even further. I wanted to put on a bold face and reassure him, but my voice was hoarse and had the opposite effect. I'm alright, I've already called for backup. There'll be a full squad here soon.
I'd be quicker to put on through your head before the cops get here. My family said no needless killing, so I'm taking it easy on you. Don't mess with me or I ain't holding back.
This was bad. It was very, very bad. The second man was a completely different beast than the first. He had no signs of indecisiveness or mercy. If this man said he'd shoot, he'd shoot. It wasn't somebody that a man like me could buy time from. I really hated to admit it, but at that moment the image of Yukie's smiling face crossed the back of my mind. I knew what that meant. I was warning myself not to throw my life away over a matter of pride. Of course, I didn't want to die here. I was just starting a new life with Yukie, and I wanted to see the face of our soon-to-be-born child. Should I risk my life for some minister's grandson lost at such a critical juncture in my own life?
But it's Jerry!
It's Jerry, come
How
on!
could you not? I laid down my life for Jerry.
I would too.
Yeah.
Damn it! Needed to stop rambling at myself, so what do we do now? The boy and extend my own life? Oh, what a good idea, everybody's life is precious. My own life was in danger, nobody would blame me. God damn it hurts, it hurts! If I'd known it'd be this painful, I wouldn't have played the tough guy. The biggest miscalculation, though, was that the sound of the gunshot was far quieter than I had imagined. It was only that loud, it would be drowned out by the rain in the forest. It wasn't something that somebody far away could hear. Damn it, wait, just wait, I don't want to die!
No, I don't want to kill you, as long as you understand.
Don't shoot, okay? Just don't shoot. I have a wife waiting for me at home. Don't want to die.
I won't shoot so long as you don't yell or nothing. Just quietly put your hands on your head and lie down.
Will you really? Will you really? Keep your promise, right? This is a promise between you and me. Between men.
Oh, well, it's a promise between men.
Keep your promise. Keep it. I'm gonna get down on the ground, okay? I'm getting down. I'll keep my promise to stop pointing that gun at me. You're still thinking of shooting me, aren't you? You wanna shoot me, don't you? When I get down on the ground, you're just gonna shoot me in the back of the head, aren't you?
I won't. Fine. I'll put it away. I'll put the gun away. It's a promise between men. There. No problem now, right?
Yeah, absolutely no complaints.
Bam!
Yeah, get him!
Ooishi!
Yeah.
It was over in a flash. The moment he lowered his gun, Ooishi didn't let his chance slip by. Ooishi had been assessing the situation for quite some time from behind the two men. And since they had the guns trained on me, he didn't really have a chance to jump in. Seeing the look on Uishi's face indicating that he wanted me to create an opening, I took that role completely.
Nice work, nice teamwork. We're just a bunch of friends.
Ooishi forcefully lifted the arm that was holding the gun. He then took the gun from the man's hand in only an instant. The other man, who was a bit slow in grasping what was happening, pointed the gun at them with his hand. With his ally grappling with Ooishi, he couldn't pull the trigger. If that man was the one that was wrestling with Ooishi at the moment, he might have shot without hesitation. But this man wouldn't shoot. He couldn't shoot. Ooishi kicked the other man away while aiming the stolen gun with his left hand, pulled out his own. With guns akimbo, he was aiming them at both men at the same time.
Ooishi!
Oh,
the
God.
best character.
What a boy.
I do believe that's checkmate. Ah!
It was perfectly played. Heedless of the guns pointed at them, the men shouted scram as they scattered away at full speed.
Fire!
It was over in an instant. Those two running away without putting up a fight was honestly unexpected. Ooishi quietly clicking his tongue in admonishment, slipped both guns into his pants pockets.
Like puts them, like holsters them. Just those guys, they know their stuff.
What do you mean?
An officer won't fire somebody who's fleeing. I want to keep my pension here. Nah.
Ooishi and I grinned at each other.
Are you Jerry, a new guy? The grandson of the Minister of Construction, a new guy? Yes. This is going to be major incident. We probably only cut the tail off the lizard, though. No foo-foo.
Ooishi smiled amusedly. Did he now?
Yeah.
The fact that the ODA, or rather the Sonozaki family behind them, was pulling the strings was apparent, but proving it wouldn't be that easy. And with apologies to Ooishi, this incident was unlikely to go public. If this caused an uproar, it would obviously lead to the minister losing his office. With HQ having decided that doing so was in the national interest, this would probably be cleaned up quietly. Might be a rough way of saying it, but this was born in the shadows and was going to die in the shadows. Ooishi probably already understood the implications behind the incident.
For the time being, let's cordon off the area, since it seems that one of them still has a gun. After that, let's get Derek into safety and get you to the hospital because you are bleeding, my friend.
As the tension in the situation faded, the pain from the gunshot wound in my shoulder blossomed once again. My forehead was also stinging painfully and had grown hot enough to start a fire. Thinking that the tension had caused me to sweat, I wiped my forehead, but what came off was a large amount of blood. I realized my shirt had been stained bright crimson from the blood flowing from my head. And his shoulder!
Yeah.
I turned around. The boy was safe and sound, without a doubt. There'd probably be an investigation on the men who ran, but that was for another day. At this point in time, I could safely say we'd cleared the major hurdle of securing the boy's safety. Are we ending our flashback? As soon as I recognized that, I felt like the lights in my head had been hit by a power failure.
I do wonder if the fact that we, know that he lived through this takes away some of the tension. Right?
I mean, that's
I know that that's, a normal thing for flashbacks. However, I do think that combined with the poor writing of some of the chapters and the poor characterization of Jerry.
It certainly doesn't help.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's like saying that you know the good guy's gonna win at the end of the film.
Sure.
Like the execution is more the problem than the premise.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just thinking about it. It's definitely something I want to I want to have a chat with some of the other people who've read this arc and get their opinions of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember this at all in the anime, I'll be real.
My knees buckled from underneath me at the ground, there feeling as soft as a cloud. It didn't feel unpleasant even as I was covered in the rain-soaked mud. She came closer asking if I was okay, but somehow I couldn't tell. I turned off the switch to the last light in my head.
Oh no. Now that's a metaphor.
Exhaustion enveloped me. Sleep. Something softer than any blanket wrapped around me.
Ooishi's hug.
Oh,
What a cutie.
is that the end of the chapter? It is.
That's it.
There we go.
It's not the end of the arc, though.
It's not the end of the arc.
So I suppose we have one more episode, I guess.
It's taking significantly longer than you told me it would.
I forgot about stuff, and by forgot about stuff, I mean there's stuff in here that's been added.
Let's do this tip.
Let's do the tip.
Mission accomplished.
We
Achievement
did
unlocked.
it.
A very kind person.
Who is it?
Let's go.
I don't actually know. I have no
Let's
clue.
find out.
Yeah. Patients admitted to the hospital can only accept calls at fixed times. That's why she wouldn't be receiving a call from him today. Yesterday, she had teased him that he got lonely easily, so he might have struggled with the idea of calling her sooner. That was much easier to imagine rather than that he might just be too busy to call. Because he's just that type of person. Yukie, whispering that, smiled to herself. The announcement that visiting hours were over played over the hospital intercom along with some music. She exchanged pleasantries with the family of the patient that was staying in the same room as her. Probably eager for his mother to be discharged, their small child was wearing a beaming smile. That child's mother was pregnant in the bed next to mine with what may be their new brother or sister. They were probably ready to burst with the expectations, dreams, and worries of having a new sibling. The joys of a growing family. Bathing in those warm feelings, I stroked my own belly, which had grown quite large. I had talked with him about how many children we wanted to have. We talked about how if we had 3, it would certainly be lively. However, there was the inescapable worry of whether I would be able to handle giving birth that many times. There isn't a mother out there who would hate to give birth because of that worry, though. Yukie, smiling, she said that to herself, gently stroked her stomach. The Metropolitan Public Safety Division. The place where that man's sense of justice had led him. That person was actually a very gentle, very fragile person. He didn't talk much about the specifics, but I didn't think he was suited for the assignment he was on right now. But as long as he said he was going to try his best, I would watch over him warmly. Your father, you see, is a very hard worker, you know? Coochie coochie coo, star. Yukie seemed to be enjoying herself as she talked to her own belly. At that moment, Yukie suddenly became concerned about something and looked out the window. It used to be this time, long ago. She remembered that when she was little, around this time in the countryside, where her grandmother lived, the Higurashi would fill the air with their chorus. This was the middle of Tokyo. Unlike in the countryside, you couldn't hear the song of the Higurashi. But for some reason, at that moment, Yukie felt that she wanted to hear that song.
It's a very odd tip.
It is. What do you think it means? What's going on there?
I don't know.
We just got to hang out with Yukie and see how happy she is to be giving birth to a baby child or multiple. Just waiting for her hubby to come home, you know?
Yeah.
He's such a good guy.
It's very peculiar.
It is. You want to make anything of it?
I mean, I guess it's implying that she's from around Hinamizawa or Kinamiya.
Maybe.
But like, I don't know if I should read any more into that.
That's fine. That's fine. It's just, you know, just one of those tips where I'm like, oh yeah, that's the thing.
It's like 1977 though, right? So like,
Yeah.
in 6 years, who's 6 years old? Do we have anyone?
I think so.
Sadako and Rika are the closest, but like they're about
like
the same
9
age.
and they're 9 and 10.
Yeah.
Also, Rika is like alive.
Exactly. That was my point, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I don't think there's anyone like younger. Tomoto Nakamura could maybe.
I mean, that's a bit of a stretch, I
Also,
guess.
they're like Rika's age because they're
Yeah.
like, boy, is she a cutie. I'd love to eat her bentos.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out
Next.
in the thrilling conclusion.
Maybe. Time.
Maybe time.